on your way somewhere. Okay, we're kicking off our first official Tuesday topics. This call is sponsoring, and it's going to be every week. The times and the calls are going to change, so we can mix it up and hopefully hit everybody in different times today. But I was just telling the ladies that I'm so excited to get some ideas from them too, because after my something reach outs last week, I am definitely, I've got a couple of lukewarm leads, nothing super strong. So we're going to just all strategize together and kind of share ideas about what we're doing, what's working, and see if we can inspire each other to really sponsor big this month. Because if you remember, it's double points this month. That's the first thing. Second thing is when you sponsor in the first month of Glam, your chances of earning like the highest level significantly increase, because those people that you sponsor this month, if you sponsored 5 this month, they're counting for every single month of the incentive period. So you're going to end up, think about that. It's like yourself times 5 for the entire next 6 months. So definitely, even though this program is all about pacing at 1 to 2, and honestly, like, I'll be thrilled if I get 1 to 2. I really am shooting for much, much more, because I know that Glam is going to be significantly impacted if I really go big this month and then kind of pace the 2 a month after that. So who out of this call is having a lot of sponsoring luck, and tell us what you're doing? All right, Sam, you just sponsored last night. How'd you do it?
I think it's just having a lot of conversations, and honestly, I always feel like I'm a little bit disconnected from it. I can't even remember who I had conversations with, which is why I have to keep a tracker, and then just constantly go back to it. And oftentimes, I even find myself going back saying, "I'm sorry, I left you hanging. I mean, you totally want to do this, right? Like, I shouldn't have left you hanging for 6 months." So I can't even say that I'm really thorough on it. Or, oftentimes, like when they respond back with no, I'm like, well, darn, you really recognize that you should do this, right? Like, my arms are open for you. Come when you're ready, or let's talk more. Like, I don't really let go. And just kind of keep that open arms and a hug ready. But I also recognize people's lives change every 6 months. So I feel like even if they did say no, I just keep going back. So yesterday just happened to be a random lead, and I created a little bit of urgency. So it was a random post where someone said, "Does anyone know a Stellan.stylist?" And happened to be a right place, right time. I responded back, connected with the woman. I, asked her a few questions, what her level of interest was. And then I said, kind of went through the, is there anything that would hold you back? Can you see signing on today? We have an extra perk in our group. We'd have an extra chance to win a jewelry box. So I just used a little bit of urgency. And she was like, "Yeah, no, I'll sign on today." So who knows? I don't know her. She's a cold contact. So I do feel like just right place, right time. But I've had 2 other people sign on this month. And one was a past stylist that just was like, "Can I do this again? Can I come back?" And not sure what I want to do with it, but she's already open to show. I just reminded her of why it's worth it to be sharing on the go. And then actually another one's from my VIP page. She was actually a follower on my VIP page, and she just reached out with, like, "I really feel like I should be doing this. Like, you make it look so fun." So she was actually a connection through my husband who had started following my page. So it's just, I guess, putting yourself out there and just building a long pipeline. And I have been doing a ton of reach outs. So I hope some of them come through, but I don't even necessarily know where the next one's coming from. So just keep continually reaching out.
So how many do you have so far this month?
3.
Oh my God, Sam, that's amazing. That is incredible.
Well, of those 3, they've sold $79 so far. So we're working on it.
If they're just signing up, it's early. It's early still. That's amazing. And I completely agree that, like, the running the numbers thing is so huge. And you are really good about putting yourself out there. I know Victoria yesterday sponsored too. Mm-hmm. She put all of her Stellan opportunity posts public on her Facebook page, which I thought was a really interesting idea. And one of the women who signed up was not even one of her friends. It was a friend of a friend who was able
That's great.
Yes. So I love that idea.
I actually did a training last night on VIP groups, and I very much believe in them being public. There's not really a reason for them to be private or closed anymore. And it should be more of a VIP, not a blogger landing page where the content should be so good people want to share it or see it and share it with friends. So mine is public also.
And I think even in your personal page, when you post something about the opportunity, or like when we travel to directors retreats and things like that, I mean, really only your kids' posts really need to be private. I think anything you share that is about the business, I think is worth sharing. I love that. Sarah, what were you about to say?
I was going to say, I think the biggest like no-brainer takeaway is that obviously Sam has been reaching out to the most people. I mean, we know that from her sharing, I reached out to 100 people last week and all this. And yes, our challenge was 40, but you went above and beyond and it's working.
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally.
And we're getting video bombed.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. Cause when I was trying to come up with today's challenge for the big group, I was running it by some of my pacing partners. And part of me really wants to focus on like follow up and then adding maybe like 20 more. But you're right. We probably need to add another 40 because in follow up with the ones we have. Because Sam, didn't you say a lot of the ones that ended up saying yes were a second touch?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Or a 10th or 20th touch. Like I really just don't stop.
Yeah. But these are people that have been leads for a while for you. Not like you're even done it 20 times in the last week.
No.
Okay.
20 times in 10 years.
Yeah.
The other thing that I'm trying to work through is like quickly moving through the conversations and through the order of offer, because one thing that I've gotten like stuck on in the past is that I'll get stuck in limbo with somebody for a really long time and they'll kind of leave me hanging. So what I'm trying to do this time is make my reach outs a lot more efficient, where if they're not ready to sign up like this week, it's going to go straight into a booking conversation. And maybe they'll sign up before their show, or maybe it's not the right time for them, but I don't want to have what's happened to me in the past, especially like in these winter months in January. What happened to me last January is I did a ton of reach out for sponsoring all month long. I barely had any shows. And then February rolls around and I still had no shows because all I was talking about was sponsoring and I was never moving the conversation to booking. So, so that's what I am focusing on, kind of my strategy.
Well, and I love what you said on the roller, Charlotte, about the opportunity, not the special, because that then, let's say you have somebody who's not quite ready. If you've just talked about the special, then when you book a show with them in February and then try to flip that show, like, where's the special? Whereas because you're with the opportunity, you can still go ahead and book that early February or ideally late January show with them and potentially flip it, which is, that's going to be a habit that this group is going to majorly develop. I know a handful of us already do that. We immediately go from a sponsoring conversation to a booking conversation and then attempt to flip them before their show, which gives you an instantly qualified stylist, which I love. But I love that you talked about that, about leading with the opportunity and not the deal.
This is Brandy, by the way. I'm calling it, not video. I really like that idea, and I think maybe that's where I'm falling down, is trying to, those people that I've spoken to in the past by offering that special. So maybe I just need to kind of go back and just look at it as the opportunity and not the special. So thank you, Charlotte, for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. I would almost have the whole opportunity conversation. And then when you're sealing the deal, like, oh my gosh, and this is such perfect timing because we actually have a special right now. Let's get you signed up right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you did in January, you're also going to get all these perks. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
The thing is, if you only ever reach out to customers to shop because there's a sale, then they're only ever going to shop at a discount, versus reaching out about style and service. You can do that all the time. And then a sale is just
right.
Work. Yeah, I remember Jessica explaining that years ago about like Gap, for example, how people never will shop Gap full price because there's a sale 3 times a week. So if you set the norm of you can get $1,000 as the norm, then people are only going to do it when you have that. And especially for this group that's trying to establish consistent sponsoring throughout the month, if we use that special as too much of a crutch, then we aren't going to know what to reach out with next month.
Right.
Yeah.
I had said last night on our How to Become a Stylist group that the best day to sign on is today, because I always think that the sign-on special is for stylists. It encourages us to take action, and it really isn't for the new person signing on. They should want to sign on anyway. And if they were ever to wait for a sign-on special, they're losing money each month. They could be making added commissions, and an extra $100 in product is really only $50 out of pocket. And hopefully they'd make more than 50 in commissions in a month. So to wait is irresponsible financially. And it really isn't, that's not the reason they're signing on. It should be definitely because of the opportunity, not because of the special.
Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of good things out there right now. I loved I posted it. Charlotte, I might have gotten it from you. I can't remember, or maybe Sam, one of you, about I don't know if it was USA Today or what, saying that it's 40% now people have a side gig. That is so different than when I signed up. And so I think people like to do what's normal. People like to do what the crowd is doing. So I think really sharing that this is mainstream now, like having a side income, having a vacation budget, having all those fun perks, the luxuries of life, is now the norm. It is a norm that people have this extra stream of income. That's safety net for people who have things like the government shutdown, things like that. So I think that verbiage is really good that's out there. And what was another one I recently saw? I think just talking about like the joy it brings. I think rather than just focusing necessarily on the money or anything like that, I think people are definitely looking for joy and friendship and fun and all of that. So I feel like the people in my downline so far that have told me they've sponsored this month, people are seeing their posts about how much they love it and how happy they are. And they're like, I want a piece of that happiness. So make sure you're sharing the joy. Ashley, with your stylist that you signed on this month, do you have one or two so far this month?
I have one.
You have one. So how did you reach out in the beginning? Because that happened like right off the bat. She signed on sign-on day, right?
Yeah. I had invited her to the group, and she's a relatively new customer, and she just loves the product. And I had even asked her before about, like, I kind of planted a seed, and she was like, no, that's not for me. But I invited her to the group, and she like jumped on and just loved the product. And then was like, we just chatted like I don't know, like an hour the night before. And she was like, I'm totally doing it. I don't know. But it was the product that really sold her.
Yeah. Definitely. Sharing images of things that people, things that you think people will love. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Did you talk to her on the phone, or like you were chatting back and forth?
We were doing Facebook Messenger.
I have really started, I was reaching out when I was doing my 40 reach outs last week. I was just kind of going through my friends list and being like, oh, she'd be good because of blah, 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 or she'd be good because of blah, blah, blah. And then I started looking over at who was actually on live, and a lot of I got a lot of no's a lot faster, but I was able to catch people while they were on live, which helped me move through my list much faster. So definitely check out that right column with the green light, and anyone who's on live, say something to them, and that, starts the conversation right then and there. Hey, Virginia, how are you? Oh, you're muted. Oh, you're at work. Okay, good. She's listening. Okay, who has questions for this group? Like, who's hit some sponsoring bumps? I know, obviously, my biggest problem right now is running more numbers. I also, one thing I'm trying while y'all are thinking of your question is I've got to get in front of people this month. So I posted yesterday on our little thread that, and I'm still kind of like, I don't know, I'm so nervous to go in front of this. Y'all do bar shows all the time, but I'm like paranoid about going in front of hot yoga. I don't still know if it's the crowd. I mean, they are all, whatever. But anyway, I'm very I have kind of butterflies about it, but I'm also going to be in front of 3 classes of 10 to 15 people tomorrow. And so my goal this month really is to get in front of strangers. So I'm doing one at a nail salon. I'm doing one at my hairstylist hair salon. And she's like, I honestly don't know who you're going to get, blah, 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 but you can definitely set up a table. So I'm just taking a leap and going and setting up and just seeing what happens, because I honestly need to sponsor new. I need to get in front of people. I'm pretty good about following up throughout the year with my customers. So I feel like I've got to get in front of new people. So if you haven't done that, we've got, what's today? Tuesday. We have till next Thursday. see if you can get in front of strangers over the next few days. Even if you have your real in-home trunk shows, just kind of go outside your comfort zone. And I'll be totally honest with you, I have not done a lot of pop-ups over the years. So this is something that I want to work. And I know, Charlotte, you're working this into your weekly schedule to get out there and get in front of people. Okay. What questions do you guys have for this group? Or anyone else have any success stories of what you're doing to kind of have those sponsoring conversations this month? Any questions at all?
I had a quick question.
Yeah.
I have been trying to, there's someone who has like seemed like she's interested for literally a year, and I have not been able to close the deal with her. She always says she's going to look, and she's always so thankful, but I just can't seem to close her. And I'm just wondering, you know, do you guys have any tips for that? You know, like I know she would benefit from her. We've talked about like the extra income and what she could do with it. And, you know, she now has 2 kids and, you know, the things that I use to pay for my kids. And I just can't seem to get her like past that, just like initial looking at it step.
So my typical line that I say is, you know what, my biggest advice to you is to don't overthink it. This is something I woke up at 3 a.m. and did on a whim. I had no business plan. I just liked the product, and I would have spent that anyway in product. It's less than a trip to Costco. It's less than a trip to Target. How many times do you walk into Target and out you come with $150 worth of stuff, and you don't even need it, and you don't even know what you're doing? I just say, you know what, you don't have to marry us. Just date us, do a show, see what you think. Just be like, you know what, your worst case scenario, you have $1,000 in amazing product. So I think just letting them know that it's okay just to date us. It's okay just to give it a shot and see what you think. You know, I think that takes the pressure off of this is a long time thing that she's committing to.
I also think you have to kind of look back and are you just giving her information, or are you taking a moment to ask her to sign on? So often I think we just flood them with information and they're like, oh, okay, this is a lot. I don't think I'd ever be able to get all this information for someone. Like, I don't know how I'd ever learn it all. And instead kind of step back and say, have you offered? And if you have offered, it might be going in and doing a takeaway. It sounds like if you've been working with her for a long time, if you have been saying, hey girl, you know, would you, like my typical like get off the fence is, if today was the only day ever to sign on, would you sign on? And then usually you get, you know, yeah, let's just do it, or no, and do you know, would you mind telling me what, if anything's holding you back, so you can learn more and then maybe help overcome her objection.
Yeah, like you and Charlotte both use that line, what if anything is holding you back? I think that those are brilliant words to say. Yeah, and Virginia, I totally agree with Sam. Half the time we don't ask. We don't, in my line is, if she's like takes in all the information, it's like, wow, yeah, that really sounds like a great opportunity. Then I'm like, perfect. It takes 5 minutes. I can walk you through the sign up step. Are you near your computer now? So like, I literally will say that too. And they're either like, well, you know, I want to think about it a little bit. Or they say, yeah, I'm near my computer. How many times people have said, okay, yeah, I'm right here. And then I walk them through the whole process. They are just sitting there waiting for you to tell them what to do next, often. That's a great point.
But then sometimes if you do ask like what's holding you back, then you act like sometimes some people just aren't telling you. And then you can actually figure out, okay, is it like a fear or a hesitation that you can overcome? Or is it that they're like, I just started a new job this week and I just can't take something else on. And then you're like, okay, like, that's like an actual reason why not right now. Let's chat in a month. You know, so you can actually like get real information instead of like being stuck in limbo.
Yeah, she actually reached out to me in December, like for about every quarter I've been reaching out to her. She was so interested. And then in December, she actually reached out to me and was like, okay, don't get too excited, but I need you to answer these questions, you know?
Perfect. Yeah, she sounds like she's ready to go. She's just a little nervous. So. Be like, honestly, just say, if you have butterflies about this, that's normal. Like we all do. It's just trying something new. You know, I remember someone saying in one of my yoga classes the other, you guys are going to get a lot of yoga quotes. But she was talking about when you're going towards your edge. And she said, you know, when you need to differentiate between feeling pain and discomfort. Discomfort is what you feel when you go outside of your comfort. Comfort is what you feel as you push towards change, which is necessary for growth. Pain is a totally different thing. So just be like, you know what, honestly, butterflies are normal. We all feel them. It's just what happens when you try something new. Like that's just a total normal human. I do think people interpret that fear as danger. I'm not supposed to do this. This is my gut telling me not to do this. So when they know that like it's normal to kind of feel nervous about trying something new and be like, don't overthink it. Honestly, it is cute breathe. Take away from shop today. I think would be great. I think reminding them of why you thought of them.
Yeah, and I think she's going to be at a trunk show I'm having on the 2nd. And so I just looked, and that thankfully that sign-up special goes through the 5th of February. So.
Did we figure that out, Sam? I saw you on the Star Director page.
It's through the 5th.
Okay, cool. All right, you guys, we're kind of getting towards the end. We have about 5 more minutes since we started about 5 minutes late. What questions can you think of for the group? What questions do you, or can you think of a question that you think other stylists or other people in the Maven program might have?
I would think probably a question is like where to find your new lists of people. And one thing that you can do is hone in on like a geographical area that you want to grow, and it could be your current town, or it could be the town over, it could be another state. But you can actually go on Facebook and go into the search bar, and you can search my friends in blank. So like I want to grow North Carolina, so I went on, and I'm also growing my network here too. So I have fairly limited connections, but I went on to Facebook and searched my friends in North Carolina, and it pulled a whole list of every single Facebook friend that I have that lives in North Carolina. And I just went down the entire list. So you could do that with my friends in Williamsburg, Virginia, blah, blah, blah. And then that pulls a whole new list, and people, you know, it might be some of those contexts like that we were talking about. And I used Sam's words that were really effective of, hey, I know we haven't chatted since whenever. I'm reaching out to you about my business, blah, 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 blah. And that started a lot of really good conversations. Kelly, you're muted.
Oops. Okay. I heard a little background noise, so I muted just in case. Yeah, there's certain areas in Virginia I really want to go. Tidewater area is one of them. Growing up there, Virginia, you've obviously got great access to that. North Carolina is another area. And I think even like out towards like Southwest Virginia, we used to have a star in Roanoke. We do not anymore, kind of out in that Southwest Virginia area. So yeah, I love that idea about being strategic. And I do think there is something about saying that it is a completely untapped market with huge opportunity for growth, and that we're looking for leaders in that area. I think that goes really, really far. Okay, anything else you guys can think of? All right, so the rest of the calls today, we've got the big noon call that's just going to be kind of a little dose of inspiration, some weekly challenges. I want to hear from you all how things went this past week, and watch that video if you get a second. That I posted it on the Facebook thread. I'm going to send it out to email too, because we're going to have the inspiration is kind of going to be around that. And then I'm really excited for the 12:30 call, Show Me the Money. So if you want to figure out how to grow your paycheck, that's going to be the one. And I'm going to pop on and off between each call so that we can plan the recording for each one. But thank you guys for the awesome tips. I'm going to sit here for the next 30 minutes and start making a new list. And then I'll see you soon. Bye, guys.
Bye.